It's you and Ellery here making bonsai in Australia, and in this video I'm going to do a few updates on some bonsai which I made last year. So the first of these is one of the very first bonsai that I actually put up on video. I'm afraid the quality wasn't so great at the time, but yeah, so that was my Guava Bonsai. So I'll include some brief snips from the video that I produced at the time, just so you can see kind of where it was, and you can also check that video out via the link above. So as it turns out, I really have removed quite a lot of the roots from this tree, but I don't think it'll damage it too much. If I water it, keep it out of direct sunlight for a while, it should be more than fine. Okay, and now I'm going to pot it. Okay, so now I've potted my bonsai, I've put the moss on. It's going to take a while for it to really develop and start looking a lot more lush in terms of the moss itself, but that's been applied and it's in its pot and it's ready to grow. So look, this is first attempt at growing a Guava Bonsai. I'll see how it goes. It's got a lot of development to be had, and yeah, I'll eventually, once I repot this, I'm going to have to position it in a slightly different position. Hopefully by that point, in a couple of years time, I won't need these sacrificial branches anymore, so I'll be able to determine as to whether or not I actually want to keep these branches or remove them. But yeah, for now, here's my Guava Bonsai. So when I first made this guava, root pruned it quite severely. Wasn't entirely sure how it would go with that, but yeah, evidently it has survived, and also pruned it back quite severely as well. It hasn't actually grown too much. I believe there was quite a lot of effort that it would have put into the root system, because yeah, it really only, I think last spring it shot out a number of shoots, and then there's a bit of greenery that's starting to come out this year, but overall it just kind of stayed fairly similar to where it was at. I'm not really going to do much to this. I do really want to, at least with this this leader here, I really want to just let it grow, get a lot more vigor in it, a lot more thickness in that primary branch, and go from there. So all I'm really considering doing at this time is a bit of pruning on some of these other branches here. So what I'm going to do initially, because this branch here is kind of coming out right at the center of that junction there, and it's also coming out and kind of blocking the view of these branches at the back, so get rid of that. And yeah, I'll leave the top here, but you can see this section that's coming out there. It's kind of coming inside, and it's also not very healthy, so just pruning that back. And that there is the front of the tree for now. Might change it with a bit of time, but yeah, for now we'll leave it as is. Now there's a couple of buds that are just starting to come out from this branch here, so I'm going to let those grow. Also going to kind of use that a little bit in the styling for this. So yeah, this branch that kind of comes off here, that has the buds at the bottom of it, kind of comes out a fair ways, not a lot of taper, so I'm going to prune it back. I'll leave a couple of the leaves that are further up on it, but yeah, given that it's budding back here, might use that with time, and I'll leave these little parts of the branch there, hopefully get a lot more taper in that branch. Now, similar for this other really thick one, there's a bud which is coming out right underneath where that little twig here is. Given the profile there, I kind of would like to use that bud as a new branch. And again, kind of a bit of a situation where I really don't want a lot of the height and lack of taper in these branches up here. So definitely prune back this. But yeah, kind of want the vigor to go into the areas that I actually want. So prune it back just to, yeah, slightly above where that bud is coming out, just so I can get that, yeah, kind of get it all in profile as to where I want it, get a lot more vigor into that, and then vigor coming in some of the new branches hopefully coming out here. So yeah, kind of, you know, keeping it in this kind of profile for now. Really not much taken off. It wasn't a lot on this since it last grown, but it's really kind of packed out the soil with just a lot of roots, and even roots that have kind of started trying to come out the bottom of the pot there. Now the other updates are going to be these little Schefflera trees that are planted. So similarly with these ones, I did quite a severe root pruning on them, and also a really severe pruning up top. So I'll include a little bit of that video, and again you can check it out for the full video up here. Don't really need that, so hopefully that'll yeah, start forming into a few smaller sized roots there. Same with some of these other really long ones. I really don't want the so for now I'm going to prune off this big tall branch, just prune it back to there, coming back up and wrapping around up the top, so I'll cut that off. Really, I might try and do a bit of work just to try and get a nice radial root system established. Might do a bit of damage to the tree, but in the long run. So there we have that for now. Okay, so I'll water that and then I'll start on my next bonsai. Okay, so this one here, yeah, treatment for this one's going to be a little bit different. So you can see there's quite a lot of branching here. It's kind of, yeah, growing quite thick. Now it's also one that I'm planning on growing. It's in an individual pot, so planning on growing this more as, you know, a bit of a semi-formal upright style, or at least something similar to that, but not a clump style for this one. So what I'm actually going to do is start getting rid of some of the really low down branches. I am going to have this as the front there, so I'm just going to prune off some of the leaves there as well, just so you can see what's there. Okay, so you can see here that there was so this big main trunk, which I kind of, yeah, so that's the former leader that I had when I planted this tree. It's kind of got this one shoot which has kind of come off on the side, and that's realistically become the new leader, so it's a lot taller than this part of the tree now. Now what I'm going to do, there's a lot of little small branches that have also come off of this main, initially the leader, and it's kind of clumpy, not a lot of taper in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get rid of that whole part of the tree, and I'm going to leave this individual, this new leader as the leader, given it's got a lot more taper, and then these couple of small little shoots on either side as some of the side branches. So I'm just going to get in now and get rid of that, and I'm just going to prune it. Just a little bit more flush with the main trunk, and yeah, so got rid of this big part as well. Okay, so yeah, really just prune back that big chunky one, giving it a little bit more elegance in the trunk there, but also opened up light to these branches that I actually want to grow. It's now just a little bit kind of out of profile. More or less in profile now. You know, nothing too fancy at this moment. Just kind of bring it back, let it shoot off and grow more in a more controlled fashion. So the last one here, and again I'll just include a brief snippet of when I actually made this. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to put it into this larger kind of almost a landscape style pot. So what I'm going to do is I'll put it in this pot, turn it into a little bit more of a landscape style bonsai, and I'll put a couple little bits of cuttings in there as well, just on the off chance that they might sprout up and it might start to look a little bit like a forest in the short term, over the next couple of years. So we'll start with that, see how we go. Now that I've got the cutting in there, I really only had enough for one large cutting. Smaller cuttings, I really don't think they're going to work that well, especially in this kind of soil. So this one here, there were actually 3 different trees. Well, actually there were 2 cuttings and the 1 tree. So the 1 tree, which you can see there, that's grown quite successfully, and then there was a little throwaway cutting which I kind of threw at the side there, which I didn't think would actually survive, and that's actually grown quite well, whilst the larger cutting didn't grow at all. So so with this one I'll prune it back, and then I'll actually introduce a couple more of those cuttings into it just to see if they grow as this one I am designing as a bit of clump style. So again, with this as the front, I'll probably just prune that back a little bit so you can see what you're working with or what I'm working with. Okay, so you can see all the roots that have grown up have actually pushed the rocks up a little bit. But yeah, growing quite vigorously there. Now, I don't have any particular branch there that's kind of shot off and gone crazy. There's a few different branches growing up in different areas, and I'm actually liking liking the way they develop. So at this point, just going to really do a bit of profile pruning and just get rid of the previous stump that was in there, just tidy it up a little. Guess this is more a bit of a, it's not a clump really at this stage, it's more of a forest, but the intent is with time that it will grow a lot of kind of aerial roots. Okay. And this one at the back here, it's simply just going to be pruning it into profile. Okay, and now, similar to what I did last time, I'm just going to get a couple of small cuttings. And throw them in there. And see how they go. So because of the type of soil that this is, and I do have another video where I actually made this soil, so I'll leave a link for you to check out above there as well. But because of the type of soil, it's not like a nice clean, soft, organic mix. So I didn't just push that cutting in, I would have just broken it and there would have been no chance of it growing. So I actually just used the scissors to push a hole into it and then put that in to follow. Now this larger cutting piece, no idea how this will take, so I'm actually going to cut off a bit of the older thicker part of that. And again, and then push the soil in around it. So yeah, just the original tree there, one of the original cuttings that I tried at the back here, which was like smaller than that, and then these two new cuttings, which I'll see how they go. So look, I hope you've enjoyed this video or taken something from it. If you have, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel to be updated with my future videos as I release them. Look, thanks for your time today. Enjoy. Bye.